Thanks a lot for the invitation. Yes, so my title is about the smart use and living, and it's really inspiring to speak after those excellent speakers from the morning. So, as we all know, buildings are in the really central role. I mean, we are all spending most of our times indoors, and also 45% of our national wealth is in buildings. And in addition to that, only the maintenance of the buildings has a value over 15 billion euros, so really huge amount. And of course, I mean, buildings are using a lot of resources, energy, water, and materials. So the impact is really huge what we do here. Then, what is then a smart building, and what is kind of like the core in use and living in those? Well, of course, smart buildings need to be really nice place to live and work. I mean, that's the core where we are aiming. And to enable that, we need new technologies, we need the co-creation, we need the integration and digitalization, everything, all those nice words. But I mean, that's the kind of like the core that we need to think about the users. And of course, I mean, the key aspects, what we actually want to achieve in smart buildings is that the buildings can adapt to changes, that the users are not kind of like affected to unwanted changes outside or inside the building. So buildings are always covering us and giving us the best available occupation and indoor climate. Well, a few examples. For example, adaptive systems. We quite a lot already are doing the control of the system based on certain issues. Weather forecast is typically one where we are controlling the systems inside the buildings. But combining that to occupations rates, to users' preferences, users kind of like roads and movements, people flows inside the buildings and outside the buildings. So we can have a huge energy savings, up to 20 or even 30% of energy saving, depending on the buildings, of course, and the location of the buildings. And of course, in addition to that, not only maintaining the kind of like the existing things there, but also to use that system for predictive maintenance, that we don't need to stop down the systems, but we can do that in a predictive way. Then another thing, really super important. Currently, we are always controlling our building based on the temperature of the air in this room. Well, I mean, we as a building users, we don't sense any temperature. We just sense the change from previous moment to this moment. So basically, it's actually nonsense to control the temperature based on the air temperature. We should control based on the human thermal sensation. And actually by doing that, we can increase the comfort and decrease the energy consumption. We are actually running that pilot now in Otaniemi, and we are already seeing really good results there. Another example about context-aware systems, I mean, we have all the equipments already. We are already running tests where actually the different devices inside the buildings can see where your eyes are moving, and based on their knowledge about your behavior and your preferences, they can show you the information, for example, in the fridge that, well, there is your favorite food available, or, well, you shouldn't eat that sausages now because you have put a bit more weight. That type of information you can get already now. And of course, other information as well. In Korea, they have different pilots also, like the gardening is there extremely important. You can get the information about your plants and how you should take care of those. All those is already available. So basically, we have a lot of data already existing. Data is not the problem, but it's more about how to make some value of the data. So there's so many data that we need machine to machine readings. I mean, we cannot handle by ourselves that at all. And we should actually not that much focus on Internet of Things or 5G or something, but we should focus really that we have things of meaning, really focusing that what is the meaningful information, what we can get from the data. And that's actually why we need so much about new ecosystems, new integration things, that we understand much more better that what is actually the situation here, and then by that we of course have much better possibilities to optimize the whole system. And then of course when everything is integrating more and more, so one change in one system will affect to many systems directly or indirectly, and that actually might have even unwanted effects on other systems. So we really need to understand kind of like the whole system and subsystems, how they are working, that we are not making one adjustment in one system and actually spoiling many other systems. So holistic understanding is super important. And that's why it's not only the technical systems, we need to understand also the business systems, the ecosystems there, and more we need to understand and change our leadership in this kind of like complex ecosystems. Then, of course, when we are talking about built environment, we have this existing building stock. We have a lot of buildings built in 60s and 70s. We need to transform them. We have a lot of new technologies, printed sensors, printed PV panels. Everything is becoming cheaper and cheaper. We can have cloud computing and everything. But how to do that in a way that it's a good business for everyone? So that's why we are building now, together with Smart and Clean, this kind of like new ecosystems to enable that we are not just thinking but really doing. So please join to our stand. There you have more information from my colleague Riikka. Then, I mean, we have been talking quite a lot about new ecosystems. That's the focus of today, and new services. And that's, well, we have so many services, and the user is actually, I mean, everyone is providing many services and good services and integrated services, but still it's rather fragmented. It's not that easy to choose, well, what services I need. So we should, instead of kind of like focusing on services, we should focus on garden of services. And to understand that just like a garden, those services are changing their color and form within that time, and also how the services are perceived by different persons is also like changes. So that's why we need to actually think much more about constant evolution of new services, and that is enabled by the new ecosystems. So for that, so please to join us to make a future-proof Otaniemi case. We have a workshop in this afternoon. The name of the room of the workshop is Espoo, because Otaniemi is located in Espoo, so easy to remember. So join us. Thank you.